Here.
Mr. Stafford?
Here.
Mr. Perillo? Mr. Kennedy?
Here.
Thank you. Pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act, public notice of this meeting has been given by the Land Use Planning Board of the Township of Mount Holly on January 23rd, 2025 in the following manner. By posting written notice on the official bulletin board at the Mount Holly Township Municipal Building, mailing written notice to the Burlington County Times and Courier Post, by filing written notice with the Secretary of the Land Use Planning Board, by filing written notice with the Clerk of Mount Holly Township, and by mailing written notice to each person who has requested copies of the regular meeting schedule and who has prepaid any charges fixed for such services.
Thank you. Now we need to not revisit, but approve the meeting minutes from the May 19th meeting. Michelle, is there anyone here who is not eligible to vote?
Mr. Dow and Mr. Kennedy.
Great. Of those who are eligible, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from the May 19th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any nays? Anyone does not want to pass the meeting minutes? Seeing none, motion is approved. May 19th minutes are approved. We will now move on to discussion of the housing element and fair share plan. Please take us away.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Oh, good, just closer?
Definitely closer.
All right. Can everyone hear me?
I do.
All
Try to turn it off.
So it might be the bottom over there.
Yeah.
Fix it.
Good thing we have a tech guy.
Yeah, that's what he's here for.
All right. Everyone can hear?
No, still. Do you want to pour on
Here, just take this one.
Here we go. All right. Yep.
So for the board's reference and for reference to members of the public, this is a duly advertised hearing on the housing element and fair share plan to be adopted by the Mount Holly Township Land Use Board. Mr. Harris was previously sworn by the board and accepted at the last meeting, gave an overview of what he will be presenting tonight. So he's still under oath, if I can swear him in again. And this is relating to the township's constitutional obligation to have a plan for affordable housing. So we're going to conduct a hearing on the housing element fair share plan drafted by Mr. Harris and the testimony provided, and then we'll, pursuant to the hearing process, we'll take comments from the board and comments from members of the public. So do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this board?
I do.
And Mr. Harris was previously accepted as the township and the board's affordable housing consultant and planning consultant.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to provide some highlights from the township's housing element and fair share plan that I've prepared. It shouldn't take too long because the big kicker is that the township will be using existing affordable housing to satisfy the entirety of the township's fourth round obligation. And on top of that, the township will be hopefully getting a significant surplus. So the township's in a good position, given the robust amount of existing affordable housing. At a high level, the townships are required to provide 41 affordable units for the fourth round. And as detailed in the plan, the township may be eligible to get up to 175 credits for the existing affordable housing. So again, this number might be lower. I do need to do additional research regarding some of the creditworthiness of all of these 175 units. And by creditworthiness, I mean that the developments meet the proper bedroom distribution, income distribution, and affordability controls as outlined in UHAC and the other statutory regulations. So regardless, the township will be able to easily satisfy the 41 unit requirement, given that we've already identified 175 units, and again, that's a significant surplus from the 41. Before I dive in, I will update the acknowledgements page to incorporate the current board members and professional staff, I figured that I would just do any sort of revisions in one go after this hearing. All right, so just to give everyone an overview, the plan is split into 4 sections: introduction, affordable housing obligation, the housing element, and then the fair share plan, which is sort of the meat of sort of how we're meeting that 41. The first 2 sections, introduction and affordable housing obligation, they provide a history of affordable housing in the township, and sort of a policy background of affordable housing in the state. In summary, the township did not have a prior round or third round obligation, but as a result of settlement in the prior round with Fair Share Housing Center, the township adopted 4 overlay zones to permit affordable housing. These zones exist today, but have not produced any affordable housing, and then maps of these areas can be found on pages 33 through 37 of the plan. So the third section of the plan is the housing element, which starts on page 9 of this document. This section details housing, demographics, socioeconomic makeup of the township. It also includes estimated population projections, employment projections, and housing unit projections. All of these are required per state law. And data sources for this section include 2023 American Community Survey data, census data, State Department of Labor and Workforce Development data, and then data from the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission. Just for the board and the public's reference, some highlights from this section, just quick little data points about the township. The township has about a population of 10,000. It is more diverse than the county. There's about 3,800 housing units, 96% of which are occupied, and about 6% of housing units in the township are vacant. When compared to the county and the state, more people in Mount Holly are paying over 30% of their income on housing costs. And then finally, the township's median household income is about $20,000 less than what is found at the county and the state level. So I'd encourage you guys, if you're interested in data and stuff, to read through that section, and happy to answer any questions. All right, so moving on to the meat of this plan, which I previously referred to, the Fair Share Plan. So just to give the board and the public some background, in the Fair Share Plan, there's 2 numbers that are important. One of which is the present need, also referred to as the rehabilitation obligation, and the second is that prospective need. And that prospective need is that 41 that I've been referencing. That's sort of the new affordable housing that the state requires. So both of these values can be depicted on page 32 of the plan. To satisfy the present need, which is the rehabilitation obligation, that 42, the township will continue to operate its municipal housing rehabilitation program and will continue to work with the county's rehabilitation program. This same strategy is the strategy that the township used to address their prior third round rehabilitation obligation. So with that, in that sense, we're just sort of continuing what has been done. So again, the biggest takeaway of the plan is that the township is satisfying the 41 unit prospective need obligation through existing affordable housing in the township. Like I've said, we've identified up to 175 units that may be eligible for credit, which gives the township significant surplus even if all the units identified do not produce affordable housing credit. Pages 38 and 39 of the plan detail the proposed compliance strategy, showing the satisfaction of the 4th round obligation through the Samuel Miller Senior Housing and Northampton Crossing. I pulled these 2 developments out from the rest because I have the most background info. If you take a look at the housing plan and all the appendices, most, which I did not print all the appendices out for the board members, but if you look online, they should be there. Most of the appendices are sort of crediting documentation for these 2 developments that detail bedroom distribution, income distribution, all of that stuff. So these 2 projects seem most realistic to get credit, which is why I pulled them into their own sort of bucket. Together, they provide 129 credits, and then I'll provide a little bit of information regarding each. We're happy to answer any questions before I talk more in depth about the two.
Before we have any questions, I'd like to take advantage of this break just to remind folks, if they haven't already, please silence your cell phones to ensure that there's no interruptions for the remainder of the meeting. But with that announcement out of the way, I return the floor to any other members of the board who would like to ask a question. Seeing none, I think we can continue.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Chair. All right, Samuel Miller Senior Housing is an existing 100% affordable, age-restricted rental development that was completed in about 2007. It's located on Clifton Street, specifically Block 18, Lot 2, in the central portion of the township near the intersection of Clifton and Bartram Avenues. It's located in a residential neighborhood with residential uses to the northwest and south. Further east is the Sacred Heart Elementary School, and further south across Grant Street is the County Correctional Facility. This development consists of 29 affordable units. Moving on to the next development that's existing is the Northampton Crossing, formerly known as Regency Park. It's an inclusionary family rental development completed in approximately 2012. There's a vast history with this site that I'm not going to get into detail about, but it's located on Regency Drive, specifically Block 4108, Lot 1, and Block 4109, Lots 1 and 6, in the northwestern portion of the township. Again, it's an inclusionary development, and there's townhome residential uses to the west and south. And then further north is a commercial strip mall development. This development consists of 100 affordable units. So like I mentioned, just with these two developments, the township is already 3 times over the required number of units for the 4th round. And maps of these developments can be found on pages 39 through 42 of the housing plan. So moving through the housing plan on pages 43 and 44, you can see a table that starts to identify additional development that already exists that can be eligible for up to 46 affordable housing credits. So rather than providing information for each specific site located in that table, I sort of lumped them by either developer or sort of entity that manages them. So I would like to do some additional research to determine if these mechanisms meet the state requirements of affordable housing. Again, for the board and the public's reference, that's unit distribution, bedroom distribution, income distribution, affordability controls, and stuff of that nature. So then these entities or developers that we've identified have been Habitat for Humanity, Salt and Light, Drink Institute, Personalized Independent Living, Crossroads, and Family Service of Burlington County. And that concludes my overview of the Township's 4th round plan, and I'm happy to ask or answer any questions.
Any questions from the board at this time?
The only question that I have is, based on the discovery of existing properties that obviously have surplus within the area that we have in the town, based on prior obligations, if it does come back to, let's say, the best case scenario, the highlighted amounts of 145 units do qualify for affordable housing, are we allowed to use these in prior obligations, set of actions that we've done to the township and to the planning board for prior years?
So, based on my research, there was no prior round. I believe the township was an urban aid municipality, which they didn't have an obligation. And then based on the settlement agreement with Fair Share Housing, it sort of stated that there's the township and the and Fair Share came to an agreement that there was 0 required prior round. So there's nothing to satisfy in the past. But if that were the case, if there were sort of a mysterious prior round obligation that hasn't been satisfied, then yes, they could satisfy those.
Well, I guess what I'm more referring to is there's a bunch of sites on here from, from like Site C and Site A downtown, where like the old Sacred Heart churches, to some other areas in the downtown area that are earmarked should something happen there. that they would be earmarked for X amount of units based on obligations that we need to fill.
Right.
And those were agreed upon. If we have a surplus, do some of these earmark sites go away?
That's a good question. I feel like that would have to be something that like the township officials, and if Fair Share becomes an interested party, that would be a discussion to have with them. Because, I mean, that is a good point. If we do have this robust, which we do, the township does have a robust
And
ordinance.
the biggest reason for this question is as the township continues to look for redevelopment in certain areas, obviously, it is easier to attract developers if they don't have to contribute to a fair share of housing element. If there's an obligation already filled during the time of development. So if there's a surplus and then it could be bumped down, it's a question that I'm not gonna know the answer to. You might have to do some research on it, but just curious.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do some research, but I think that will sort of work itself out, like as the township negotiates with Fair Share moving forward. But that's definitely something we could look further into to change that existing zoning overlays.
Is it fair to say that it's your testimony that the plan that you've testified about and summarized and presented provides the township with a realistic opportunity to meet its constitutional obligation with respect to affordable housing?
Yes.
And do you believe that adoption of this housing element and fair share plan is in the public interest, protects public health and welfare, health and safety, and promotes the general welfare?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And you recommend adoption and that the plan be endorsed by township committee,
Correct.
township council, sorry.
So at this point, are we ready to move to a motion to? Oh, understood. At this point, we're going to open the floor to public comment on the proposed housing element and fair share plan. We will go row by row. Is there anybody in the first row who'd like to offer comment on the proposed housing element and fair share plan? Second row?
No.
Third row? Fourth row? Third row? Please say your name and address for the record.
Sure. David Viola, 166 on Conquest Road. Where can we find the program? I'm a data guy. I like looking at numbers, figures, and where can we find online?
I believe what exactly are you referring to?
I would like to look at what you just presented. Where can I read it? How can I access it? How can I look at it?
I
Well, how can the
believe,
citizens look at it?
right. So it has been on file with the clerk's office for 10 days, but I'll defer to, yeah, it'll remain on file, but
Okay,
I'm
so
not-
I have to go to the clerk's office and give an Oprah request? Just
Go
ask
examine
them?
it during regular business hours.
Okay.
There might, but I think it's too large.
Will there be a copy
Is it
for it?
online?
Yeah.
Can you put it online? It's a PDF?
I don't know if it's, I think it's too large a document, so I think
Okay.
you can go to the clerk's office and review it. You know,
Okay, so I'll go to and what would I ask them for? Exactly?
The housing element and fair share plan,
Okay, and what is the budget?
the budget of the plan,
Yeah,
There is no budget. That's not how it,
It's not how it works.
there's no budget.
okay, I'm just inquiring, is it a grant, is it a
No,
budget?
there's no
So
budget.
right now, it's just an element of approval to see how much you're gonna set aside on the fair housing.
I think it's a plan to show what our obligations are when it comes to fair housing.
Right, I got that.
There's no money involved at this point.
Okay,
Well,
there will have to be at one point.
there is an affordable housing
Right.
trust fund, which the township collects funds from developers and people who get approvals for
Okay.
non-market, residential, non-residential. So there is an affordable housing trust fund. The township will adopt a spending plan at some
Okay.
point in the future. And that indicates how much money is in the trust fund, and they have different deals for rehab. I'm not part of that, but that's the way it works.
Okay, good enough, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Anyone in the fourth row who'd like to offer comment? fifth row. Any other, I'm not sure how many rows there are, but is there anybody who'd like to offer public comment before we close the floor to public comment on the housing element and fair share plan? Seeing none, we will now open the floor to a motion from the board. We now formally close public comment, and we open the floor to a motion.
Okay, just for the board's reference, we did prepare a motion, a resolution in which the board would indicate that you heard the testimony, that you adopt the findings and recommendations of Mr. Harris, that you did hear public comment, and that you recommend the adoption of the housing element fair share plan because it does provide, as a detailed testimony and the findings indicate, a reasonable opportunity for the township to fulfill its constitutional mandate. We want to compliment our consultants here because they did a terrific job. Since the last round, the township has gone through, did a lot of work to, provide a housing element and fair share plan. So is there a motion to adopt the resolution finding that you adopt the housing element fair share plan, recommend the township council endorse the plan as part of its constitutional obligation, and authorize the chairperson to sign the resolution tonight so that it can be transmitted to the municipal clerk? Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll second.
All right, at this point, I guess we don't need to, can we have a roll call? Madam Secretary?
And Mr. Chairman, just to clarify that Mr. Dow that made the motion?
This was, yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Mayor Banks?
Yes.
Committee Member DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Dow?
Yes.
Chairman Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Vice Chair Saucier?
Yes.
Mr. Stafford?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. Mr. Harris, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to the resolutions listed on tonight's agenda. First will be the resolution concerning 33 to 35 High Street, Salvito Enterprises LLC, Block 49, lot, it's listed as 13 and 12, I'll say 12 and 13.
Chairman,
Yeah.
no, both Mayor Banks and myself will not be voting on any of the rest of the resolutions, as we were here for the memorialization and adoption of the master plan piece, and the other two are memorialized use variances.
Okay.
Where the other two applications that are out here are also use variances. So at this time, both Mayor Banks and Mayor we just let us enjoy the rest of your evening.
Understood. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
There's the amended resolution. There's that amended resolution on the reexamination.
Right.
So there was an amended resolution on the reexamination report, clarifying some language in consultation with the township solicitor. Just sort of wanted to clarify things to note, just what the nature of, it's a reexamination report, reaffirming that the master plan is still in effect, still works, that the zoning ordinances and zone plan are still in effect. And the master plan reexamination report did recommend review and probably updating the land use element. So, and that still needs to be done, but this is just sort of the solicitor wanted to clarify and change some of the language. So in consultation with the solicitor, drafted a revision and recommend that the board adopt it to clarify, that action. Do we do that? Will we do?
That's a-
Motion on that?
Thank you for that, Madam Solicitor. All right, with that explanation now before the board, let's take a look at Resolution 2025.18 concerning a resolution memorializing the adoption of the 2024 Master Plan Reexamination Report. Having heard what we just heard, do I hear a motion to approve this resolution as clarified and amended?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Madam Secretary, when you're ready, please take roll call. Madam Secretary, is there anyone who is not eligible to vote on this resolution?
Whoever was not here back in August, so I think that would be Mr. Bailey, and I think that was Dow or Mr.
So that went up there as the original.
That's right, it was very small.
Got it. Okay, so with those three abstentions in mind, or abstentions in mind, Madam Secretary, please take roll call.
Mr. Klein, or excuse me, Chairman Klein, my apologies.
It's okay. Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Vice Chair Saucier,
Yes.
Mr. Stafford,
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy,
No.
thank you.
Okay. Now with Resolution 2025-18 behind us, Mayor Banks and Councilmember Falco are departing. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. And we will return to the resolution list. At this time, we will hear a motion concerning Resolution 2025.16, 33 to 35 High Street, Salvito Enterprises LLC, Block 49, Lot 12 and 13. Is there anyone who is not eligible to vote on this resolution? I think there must be at least one.
Not present last meeting was Mayor Banks, Councilman DeFalco, and Mr. Dow, and Mr. Kennedy.
Understood. With
You just do a motion to adopt the resolutions.
Both at the same time?
Both, unless you have any suggested revisions, if I mess up anything.
is there a motion on the floor to hear both resolutions at the same time?
Yes.
Is there a second? Second. Okay. Do we need to vote on that?
Yeah,
On the
just-
procedural?
You just do
All right, we'll vote by voice. All those in favor of hearing the resolutions together, say aye. Aye. Any eligible who are opposed, say nay. Hearing none, yes. We will now hear both, we will hear the resolutions together. Is there a motion to approve resolutions 2025-16 and 2025-17?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Madam Secretary, please take roll call.
Mr. Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Vice Chair Saucier,
Yes.
Mr. Stafford,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. We are now through the resolutions. We can move on to the applications. First before us, application concerning 700 Monmouth Road, the Seventh-day Adventist Church. This is for a use and bulk variance at Block 125, Lot 901. Is the applicant or their agent present?
Present.
Is that working, the microphone?
Present?
There you go.
For the board's reference, I did review council's notice and proof of publication. It was timely and sufficient, so the board has jurisdiction to hear the application.
Thank you.
Council is distributing some packets for the board's review.
You need one more? That's okay. You got All right. Thank you. Just to introduce myself again, my name is Dan Josipovich. I represent the applicant, Seventh-day Adventist Church, located on Block 125, Lot 9.01. It's also known as 700 Mount Monmouth Road in Mount Holly Township. So the applicant, as you mentioned, is seeking use in bulk variance from section 149-88 of the Township zoning ordinance. And I introduced an exhibit packet, which I handed to your solicitor with the following exhibits. It's 1, the application; 2, certified mail notices of adjoining landowners; 3, proof of publication; 4, a bio of Opal DeLisser, and it also includes a bio of Dr. Horace DeLisser; as 5, a sign rendering; 6, a site plan; and 7, with street photos of the site. And I would like to call my first witness, Opal DeLisser.
Can you state your name and spell your last name for the board reference?
My name is Opal DeLisser, D as in David, E-L-I-S as in Sam, S as in Sam, E-R.
Ms. DeLisser, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this board?
Ms. DeLisser, what is your relationship to the church?
I'm the health coordinator and also the church sign coordinator.
And could you explain why you're here today?
I'm here to obtain a variance relief for a new updated sign on the church property.
And why is new signage needed?
Well, we have an existing sign and it was destroyed by a tree falling on the sign. And that's 3 years ago. Also, this sign was not visible enough for anyone to see for 65 years. And there's a corner, there's shrubs, there are trees, and so it was very difficult to be seen. And the tree fell on it and destroyed it.
And what is the current signage you have on the property?
A cloth banner.
And could you give a little bit more information about the location of the property, the physical conditions?
Well, the location of the property leads itself to being a very hardship, as this is located on Route 537 on Monmouth Road, and is concealed by significant overbrush and foliage. The property and main church building is concealed behind this brush. And because of this location, it is residential, it's a residential area, no signs are permitted. The applicant is merely asking to replace and update its signet to actually for the community actually, with and keep up to date with the design standard of churches in the area. It is very, very difficult, very, very difficult for us.
And I just would like to refer to Exhibit 7, which is those street views you have. It provides a little bit more context as to the conditions on the property. I wanted to give you an opportunity to give a little bit more explanation about the church, and explanation to the community as a whole.
Yeah, so our church, Mount Holly, the little church is on Monmouth Road, as you know. It is over 60 years old, and it was very difficult for us to obtain ordinances from the community to really have that church right there in the residential area. It takes a very long time, and we did get it, and the church exists for over 60 years now, and the church is still standing. And the church had been a beacon of light to the community, and we want to continue that beacon of light.
Going back to the signage, just to get an idea, what are your proposed hours of the signage?
Well, you mean the new signage
Of
that
the-
we're
of the-
talking
yes,
about?
of the new signage.
Well, what we would do is, it would be just daytime. It would not be anytime dark or early morning or anything like that, nothing illuminated. It's just simple to show that whenever we are having something for the community, because it's very difficult now to really reach the community. We usually go house to house, with flyers and so forth, but now, as you know, today, it is very difficult to do so. It's unsafe to do so. And so we usually have little banners here and little yard sign here and there, but things are getting very complicated for us. So that's why we're really here, because we want to reach out to the community. And if you give me a chance, I will let you know what we have done for this community, and the community hardly know who we are. During COVID, 3 years ago, we had these seminars, awesome seminars, Zoom seminars, to show people how to take care of themselves, how to stay alive. We have doctors, all practitioners, and we could not get to the community with this because we do not have the right sign. And we were not able to have it out. And some people could have been alive today if they have, because many people on Zoom, we have like 40 people on Zoom, sometimes more, every 2 weeks, but we could not send it out to the community. And I think that this sign would have helped very much to bring things that we have, cooking classes, health seminars all the time, all kind of things that we have at our church, but you guys don't know anything about it. So I think this sign would be appropriate.
Will the sign display static messages, or are the messages moving at all?
No, it's more or less to what we are gonna be doing, and maybe 2 or 3 during the day or something like that, and it will be completed before dark.
So just for clarification, it's not gonna have, movement in the text, it's just gonna be text?
Yeah, not no,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what we mean by static.
Yeah.
And how often, you're gonna describe how often the messages will change?
Yeah, how often will the messages change?
Not much for the day. I mean, we're talking about maybe 2-3 times a month or so, you know. It will be just staying there for a little while, and then maybe a few hours later, another one will pop up. So it's nothing going back and forth.
So it'll be hours, or at least an hour,
Exactly.
not just flashing.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna be flashing.
And just to clarify, our proposed hours that we indicated are about 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and we would have a limit of about 5 messages total per day.
And then you turn the sign off at 5 p.m.?
Yes.
So it's electronic?
Yeah, we're not gonna be having, because in the winter time, you know, it gets dark pretty early. Maybe in the summertime when we have late, like 8, 9, we may put it for 6 o'clock or something like that. But the sign will not be late at all.
I'm looking for the dimensions, are they in here?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, I didn't see that page.
And we'll touch upon that right now, and I'm gonna just preface this. I'm gonna bring Dr. Horace Lisser up. I would like to, apologize ahead of time. Our witness on behalf of Stewart Signs was unavailable, so we gracefully asked Ms. DeLisser's husband, Dr. Horace DeLisser, to come testify on the details of the signage. He's able to provide some basic details on the signage, but we would be able to supplement any specifics on the signage following the conclusion of the hearing with a sworn statement by the signage company representative.
No, I think that the testimony just, Ms. DeLisser has covered a lot of ground.
Okay.
You're able to change the sign message remotely, it's not something that you have to go up and, correct? Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So we can swear him in, because those are the big issues, I think you've answered a lot of the questions here, so I'll swear Mr. DeLisser.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this board?
Yes,
And would you state your name for the record, please?
I'm Horace DeLisser.
Mr. DeLisser, could you give us a explanation of the type of sign that's being proposed?
So we are proposing to build an LED display sign, two-sided, with made of material to prevent vandalism and graffiti.
And what is the size of that sign?
I think you've got a copy of this. The dimensions are 8 feet wide by 7.6 height by 12 inches in terms of the width, the depth. The sign itself, it will be on a pedestal, will be 8 by 4.
And is this a illuminated sign?
Yes.
And how will the sign be controlled?
It will be controlled remotely, will be powered by Amazon Web Services. And so messages, features, and brightness will be controlled with a secure app on a cell phone.
And are there any other features that are featured on the sign?
Well, ambient light will be controlled through a photocell tech.
And where will the signage be located?
It will be located in the middle of the property, approximately 19 feet from the property line.
That's it. Thank you, Dr. DeLisser. I would just like to call back Mrs. DeLisser, back to the stage. Ms. DeLisser, could you just walk through some of the additional benefits that the church provides to the community?
Yes, we have various health seminars. Like what I told you before, during the COVID, we focus on heart disease, we focus on diabetes, we focus on cholesterol, thyroid function. We focus on everything that you could think about. And also alternative medicine. We focus on remedies, how to really, natural remedies actually. We do cooking classes, we do health fairs, we do so many things. We give out clothing and food to this community. And before the COVID, we were doing blood drive for the community. And the people from the community usually come and donate blood, and that was awesome. And also, we usually host there was this for the homeless, when you remember when it was very cold and they didn't have anywhere to go, our church was one of the places that we host them. And we host them for several years. So I think there is a name for that? Code Blue. So our church was, so we are there really as a present, it's like a healing presence for the community. And I wish that the community will know more about us.
So just not to interrupt you, but that's a nice recitation of all the positive benefits. And just for the board's reference, a house of worship is deemed a inherently beneficial use. So for the use variance, they do not have to satisfy, although you're providing ample testimony, they don't have to satisfy the positive criteria. And one of the things that I was speaking with your council about was whether the church was able to agree to the condition that in the event of an emergency, whether you would display a message for the township.
Yes.
And in fact, one of the examples I gave to council was in the event that there's Code Blue shelter available X place.
Yes.
So you'd be willing to do that?
Yes.
Thank you. So that, and then now really all you have to do is address the negative impacts, which I think you've talked about, the ambient light and any comments that the planner has.
Yeah, and would this affect the negative criteria required for a variance?
No. No, that's not gonna.
Is there any detriment to the public good? And what are some additional special reasons as to justify this sign?
You mean the LED sign?
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about it, just like our, what's your name, please?
Oh,
Yes.
attorney, yes, yes.
Your access, if we would display, just imagine, even your ice show. You know, so, I think that's why it's gonna be well for the community, because the first sign, we have to put numbers and letters. We would have to come and change this, and it was very, very difficult, and no one would see it anyway. Even if we have that other sign, it's outdated, and it is very good for the community to have something that they can see as they move and, you know, move around, and for the whole good of the community. And so to be able to update something on your phone, that is so important. You know, we don't have to go to the church to do anything, we just update it on our phone. And whatever we are doing in the community will be able to accept, and who knows, we will have more things that we can give to the community if we have this.
I have no further questions. I'm happy to entertain.
Mr. Kennedy. Any plans to remove the old sign?
Yes.
Is it still in use?
No, it's not in use anymore.
Okay.
It's broken down, so we put the cloth.
Do you agree as a condition of approval to cease using the old sign?
Yes, it's going, we can't, it's.
Yes.
One question, is it going in the same place that the original sign was, or a different location?
No, so that's the issue with the old sign. We could not see anything because there's a corner, there's
Yeah, I'm not
trees
familiar
there.
with it, so it's gonna be.
So there are two trees that
Okay.
had been removed in front, and so we have this clear area in the front of the church that we are gonna be putting the sign. It's 19 feet away, close
Okay,
to
just
the
19
church.
feet off the roadway.
Yeah, it's 19 feet.
If you,
And it's double sided, so it's
Yes.
it's going to be perpendicular to the
Yeah,
roadway?
this way, yes.
and that site plan indicates the proposed area of the sign.
And then it's all visual, no audio?
Right.
Okay.
To the question of the visual presentation, I maybe don't know as much about modern sign technology as I should. Is it only one level of brightness, or will the level of brightness be adjustable?
Yeah, ambience. That
Yeah,
means
it's
it can be.
And it's
It is adjustable.
Yeah, it's adjustable.
Like you're not leaving it on all night, then? Mr. Jeff, I'm gonna follow.
I had a couple of questions.
Yes, I had a couple of questions. One, the sign's not going where it is now, but it's not gonna be any kind of a visual obstruction coming in and out of the driveway? Yeah, because it's not actually noted on here, if I had a big X, I'd know where the sign is actually.
They gave us a plan.
Yeah, it's.
Which plan?
There's a site plan that says it's 19 feet off,
Okay, so I see sign construction right here. Isn't that exactly where it is right now? This one here? Oh, yeah.
This is new.
Okay, so you're over right here, okay. All right, so I was looking at the old plan, okay. So the new plan, it doesn't look like it would be any kind of an obstruction for people coming, a visual obstruction for people coming in and out of the driveway. Okay, that's one. Since it's a new sign, how are you gonna feed it? The how is it gonna, be fed for electricity, whatever you're using, fiber connection, I'm not sure what you're gonna feed this with. It's definitely gonna need voltage.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a buried service wire, yeah?
Yeah, it's just coming through the church, that's from the church, right through.
This might be a question best answered by the sign company, but yes, in their presentations to us, they're going to you know, help us or work with to ensure that the wiring from the church to the sign is proper and meets code.
Okay, so it's definitely gonna, I'm sorry, it's definitely gonna come from the church and not be a direct tap off of this power line that goes across with a meter on the sign or anything like that, right? No overhead?
It's from the church.
Okay, from the church. You testified that the ambient light will be controlled by a photosynthesis, a sensor?
It's gonna be controlled by a photocell tech.
Right,
So
so that usually is what will turn a light, a sign or a light on or off. So, you know, dusk, the sign would go off. But now earlier, the young lady, she testified that it wouldn't be beyond 5 o'clock, let's say, except on the summer. So if it's working off of a sensor, a photosensor, then it's gonna shut off that way unless you override it and set it with the app. Is that correct? So you're gonna override it?
Right, to be clear, we basically want it to be on during the day and not at night, so as to disrupt the community.
Exactly, but again, you had contradicting, you know, testimony there, because the one testimony was that you were gonna control it by an app, and your testimony was that it was gonna be controlled by the sensor.
So you have a time,
Oh, you mean-
there's a
yeah,
time or
yeah.
application you can apply?
Right.
I think the brightness would be adjusted during the
Yeah, I
day
think
by
that's-
that ambient sensor. Then at 5 p.m., there would be a hard shut off
Okay.
of the actual sign.
So would there be a commitment that this sign would not be on at night?
Yes.
So there's a
Yes.
commitment that the sign will not be on at night?
Absolutely.
Okay. Controlled. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, any questions,
So
comments?
there,
from the
so
board?
you're asking for a bulk variance too, right? Because I think that you're in the, zone 4 with regard to signage, and that particular zone's permitted to have 12 square foot area, and you're doing a 32 square foot area. And the reason is, for people like me, your eyesight isn't what it used to be, it's for visibility, right? So people can actually see it, because you're gonna be 19 feet off, basically. So, and, you're set back far enough, so there shouldn't be any negative implications from it, so it's all positive. So, you know, the idea is to convey information, you want it to be sized appropriately, so people like me can actually see it. So I just wanted to clear that up, positives and negatives for your bulk variance. My other question in my letter was, you know, I wanted to see the setback, and you provided a new survey with a setback on there. And that's, and you've already committed to remove the existing signs. I think that's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Jim. Greg, any questions, comments?
No, I think everybody.
No, just want to be thorough. Okay, at this point, do we have any questions or, do we have any comments from the public? Seeing none, we close the floor to public comment, and now we move to a motion on, well, Madam Solicitor, if you would mind clarifying.
So, this is and council will correct me if I mess up any points of reference here. On the, it's a motion for use variance to permit the LED sign in a zone where it's not permitted. And bulk variance relief as to the size of the sign. The application is by house of worship, so they've automatically met the positive criteria. They presented testimony as the lack of negative impact and their agreements to provide ambient control of the lighting, that it's going to be set back from the road, it's not going to impact the site triangle, and they've agreed to make markings on the survey where they've already indicated that the sign will be approximately 19 feet from the property line. They've agreed to display an emergency message if requested by the township. They've agreed that the existing sign will be removed and it's not going to be used. They provided testimony about the lighting level, which is adjustable. And they've agreed to the limitation that it will be on only during pretty much daylight hours, which would be about 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and maybe later during the summer hours, which they've agreed to a cutoff of 6 p.m. Okay. And they've described how that it will meet certain standards, that it will not have moving text, the messages will not be blinking or flashing. Provided testimony that they'll only change their messages a few times per day. So this is one of the less frequent changes of signs that we see. It would be subject to construction code official approval in terms of the electrical hookup. I think they've addressed all of the conditions on the planner's report. So you can find that based upon the testimony presented, that the positives outweigh the negatives as far as the use variance and the bulk variance, and they've met their burden of proof based upon the testimony presented and the conditions as stated. Is there a motion or any discussion on the board?
A motion, we got a second. Madam Secretary, please take roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Dow?
Yes.
Chairman Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Vice Chair Salcier?
Yes.
Mr. Stafford?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I will circulate a form of resolution to be adopted at the meeting next week. The council will email it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will give the applicant, and anyone who is here to speak on the application for 700 Monmouth Road, a second to leave the space, but while they are exiting the room, we will now turn to the application for a use variance and a site plan waiver for 29 Grand Street, Block 22, Lot 13.01. Is the applicant or the applicant's agent here for? Perfect. We'll give you a second for, are we ready?
I just haven't seen those.
Just want to make sure we're all ready to go. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Robert Kingsbury, I'm an attorney from Medford. And my client is Alexandra Varon. That's this young lady here. She is the owner of the property. And with her is Ivan Morales, who will testify. He is, in effect, the manager of the property. This is an application to allow, the zoning ordinance allows a business downstairs and an apartment upstairs. We're asking for apartment use on both floors. And the genesis of this goes back to COVID, 2020, 2021. The demand for office space plummeted significantly in that period, and it's still in that status. Just from a personal experience I have, I ran an office in Medford, and I would say the building I'm in is not even 50% occupied, because there's just no demand for office space anymore. Developers who are building office buildings have stopped doing that because there's no demand. And I went on a website that keeps track of office demand in New Jersey. They didn't have numbers for South Jersey, but for Central Jersey, they stated that in last calendar year, the lack of occupancy, I guess is the way I would put it, is around 30–35% of office buildings are vacant. So we're asking for relief. This has caused a tremendous economic impact on the owner of the building. And I will ask Ivan to come up and testify about that. Ivan. This is Ivan Morales.
Good evening, everyone.
Mr. Morales, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this board?
Yes.
Okay, Ivan, you're not the owner, but you run the property, manage the property.
Right, yes.
Okay. And have you made any attempts to rent this property to a business on the first floor?
Yeah, we try to do like everyone does. We put it in a commercial property web. This CoStar is the biggest commercial property broker. Try to find someone who try to rent it.
If I can interrupt, he's talking about CoStar, which is similar to Zillow and Redfin. It's the same service. So he listed it with that service. Okay.
Yeah, we did it like, this is still active, so it's still the product. We listed like 6 months. We only received one people who go to the property and see, and they just say, why you don't rent an apartment? It looks an apartment. So we don't, we don't run it. So just everything, the feedback we received.
Have you made any attempt to sell the property?
Yeah, we honestly start trying to sell the property. That was listed in Redfin, the biggest platform where you can sell or rent it anyway. And the property was listed by for 7 months. We didn't receive any offer. Many people go to see the property, but everybody say the same. I don't have a business. I want to, a place to live. The property is very nice because we have a good stand. But they don't want that difference between, office and residential. And we don't receive not even an offer.
Okay, is this property suitable for an apartment, both upstairs and downstairs?
Yeah, if you see the paperwork that the architects made it, both units have the same floor plan. That the difference is one have kitchen and the other one not, but it's the same.
Okay. Does the upstairs have a separate entrance?
Yes, and back and front.
And is there sufficient parking on the site off street?
Yeah, the property have 9 parking spots in the back. So if I read where the engineers say the New Jersey requires 1.5 parking spots for each unit, we have 9, so it's enough. We don't get if somebody lives there, will affect the off-street parking. Because the property have enough space for parking.
How would you handle trash and garbage from the 2 apartments that you allow that?
Well, we actually have the kind for the city that gave to this residential unit. I'm asking if we can get one more for the office unit. They already gave me so well, I don't have a problem with that. It's just little more space.
They each have their own garbage containers?
Yeah.
You don't need a dumpster.
No.
Have you taken a look at the other properties along Grant Street? I assume the board is familiar. This is right across the street from the jail. So, okay. What about the other properties along Grant Street?
Yeah, let's say 90% of that street is residential. There are 3 businesses there. Nice to my home, Alexander home is an attorney office. 2 house
or left to the right side is, I think, an attorney lives there, but it's his home, I guess, because it's an, how you say that, it's a duplex. So,
Side by side?
yeah, side by side, so one part is on a house, and the other one is have a sign and attorney, but I guess he live there, but you know, there are no office and apartment, just a home. He uses that as office, I guess. That's it.
Do you think there would be any advantages to the neighborhood to have two residences rather than a residence and a business?
Yeah, well, I think it's gonna be benefit even for, you know, the town, the whole people who live, who have businesses, because, you know, it's more people living, the people go to shop, go to the restaurants, you know, spend money. Vacant property, vacant unit is not worth for anyone. You know, we have been the property in good standing, we pay taxes, pay bills, everything. But, you know, the vacant property is not good for no one.
There'd also be someone there at night, right?
Yeah, right, exactly, so.
Do you think that there would be any detriment to the neighborhood or the zoning scheme of the neighborhood if you were allowed to have two apartments?
No.
That's basically our argument of, in effect, this property is on the verge of being zoned into inutility, not by the township, but by virtue of other circumstances, which we can't control and you can't control, and it's a financial burden on him, the way the circumstances are right now.
Yeah, of course, we have been, as I say, paying the taxes on time, the billing on time, the mortgage on time. We even have to borrow money to pay the paperwork, because, you know, the architects charge you with $7,000 to get the paper you have in your hand. So there's a lot of money. We had the property vacant since 2023. So yes, taxes are pretty high because we have 2 units. We are paying 2 units taxes, but we are not able to use it only one. So that's a struggle in our family, but that's why we are here.
Are you proposing any changes at all to the site?
No, I just, you know, have to add a kitchen, that's it, in the same place that is the upstairs, that's it.
It's already set up for 2 apartments, right?
Yeah, even the people who saw it, the people who saw to rent it at an office, why you don't rent it at an apartment, it looks like. They don't like it, have a bathtub, you know, laundry room. So it's crazy, but it's what it is.
Okay. We're asking for relief from circumstances. Obviously, this would not be detrimental to the neighborhood because it's a residential neighborhood. I don't know how old those houses are. They might be more than 100 years old. But there was certainly a residential neighborhood when it originally originated. And I understand what the township is trying to do to encourage office uses, but they just don't exist right now. And that's just not in this town, but every town. So we feel that these circumstances justify a variance.
Mr. Kennedy. Do you know what the business was, the last business that occupied the bottom floor was?
Yeah, as I know, was an attorney offices.
Oh, sure.
It was a couple, you know, they were married, but they get divorced. And they do not agree to who have to pay their mortgage, so they just.
And I see you have an exit in the front right corner and an exit in the back. Those are already there, those are existing exits?
Yes.
So it's common area in the front and the back?
Yes.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Yes, Mr. Dell.
Okay, I have a couple of questions here. for the first floor, I'm looking at this diagram, and from this bedroom, you have to go from the bedroom, through the bathroom, through the next bedroom, into the vestibule, to get to the rest of the flat, to the rest of the apartment. Oh, I'm not sure
You
how that,
have a copy of the.
how that matches.
I think there is another.
Let me
See
try to
something?
get the.
Yeah, so where this says fall, you come out into the.
Is that, those are dashed lines?
Do you wanna say anything? It's either open or there's a door, but it is, you can go through that area.
All right, I figured that would just be, okay. Okay.
We're talking second floor?
So there won't be a door there, it'll just be an opening, okay? Well, that's that. You said 9 spots, the graph is showing 6, more is better than less. But could I have clarification on that? Because you're saying if the graph is showing 6 spaces and you said 9.
Survey does show 6, but they believe they have 9 spaces.
Yeah, that, I think that's why, because, you know, that concrete block, the parking I used to have in front of each car, you see the white, yellow paint, you saw where there is a block in every parking spot to divide 2 spaces. There are only 6 blocks.
So you're
right?
talking stops, right?
Yeah, right, the stop, right.
I'm actually very familiar with the property, and I've seen your stops, I've watched you redevelop it. It sat there kind of empty for a while, it's a real neat older house. That top window in the front, I always wondered where that went. But, so I'm extremely familiar with it, and I was just asking out of curiosity because this is what you have. The wooded area behind it, none of that is your property, right? Your property stops at the fence that's
Yeah,
right in
right.
front of the wooded area,
Yeah,
correct?
right, exactly.
And out of curiosity here, you put solar panels on it, or the solar panels were already up.
Yeah,
These units have separate meters, yeah?
yeah,
So
right.
how does it hit 2 units?
Yeah, they took like, every unit like a project. So, the unit 2, second floor is a residential, is able to, run the project.
Right.
So they just did that, the half of the roof to solar panel. The other part, they don't touch it because it's a, commercial, space, so they are not run any kind of project because it's only for residential, after, New Jersey regulations. So that's why they are able to, the solar panels is only for, meter 1, meter 2. The other meter is have a regular energy.
So I thought I only saw 2 meters, so you don't have a property owner meter? Because quite often there'll be 3 meters, the property owner for your basement or any lighting
No.
that you're, and
No, only 2 meters.
just the 2 meters?
Yeah.
So you have no basement in that house?
Yeah, there is a basement, but it's, finished.
So-
Some stuff there, but nothing.
So the basement is wired off of which unit? The first unit or the second unit?
I'm not sure, but I guess it's in the 3rd floor, the 1st unit, but I'm not sure honestly.
Well, whichever unit is paying for the power that, for the lights in that basement, would they have access to that basement then?
No. They have access if they want it, but, there is anything, there are no lights, no nothing. There is light, but anyone to the normal. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And that's it.
Did we answer your question about the layout of the floors?
Yeah, actually, it was my error. Apparently, there was the dashed lines meant there was a doorway there, without a door on it, just an open door arch or something. That works. Thank you.
Anyone else on the board, questions, comments for the applicant's agent? Seeing none, board professionals.
So basically, you're changing from the bottom floor for an office space. So, looking at it from the positives and the negatives, you're actually probably doing less disturbance by having a residential unit on the bottom as opposed to an office space. You don't have the traffic coming in.
Yeah, all right.
And you have adequate parking, you have more than you need actually. So, are you just gonna restrict that, because I guess there are some offices in there, I mean, you're not gonna lease it to anybody else, parking spaces,
No.
it's just for your
No, no.
people. And it looks like it's minimal, meaning
They meet the minimum area?
areas, yeah, so you don't have to do a whole lot of work, basically, it sounds like it's pretty much set up already.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Two family, right? That's right.
Yeah, up and down, so it's really awesome for the town, so. That's all I have. Yeah, you could do that, could you describe what is the, neighborhood like, are there, they're mostly single families, or are they duplexes?
There are, I could say 50-50 one family home, but, there are, 50% duplex, so they took the same house, I just not break it in, like that. So, one side, the other side. This home, they are just make it, one top but down, but it's the same, duplex, 4, 5, 7 houses duplex. The other house, after the Clifton, I guess is the street, are single family house because have like a more space, yard, and everything is more separate. Yeah, but it's.
Is there a reason that you can't, do a single family, what's the rationale for the two, other than you're gonna take more?
Who's trying to give testimony about that?
What's that?
You tried to sell it as a single family.
Yeah, I tried to sell it, if, I mean, it's a very big home, two floors. You can buy it if you want it and use it as your family. But yeah, the people say, no, well, I don't want that. Because, have separate entrance, no have, I say inside stairs because the both stairs are out of the apartments, the units. So the people just don't like it.
Yeah, I misunderstood, I thought you tried to sell it as a house and an office, but basically you want the full residential.
Yeah.
So, I just have two issues, again, on the parking. So this is really up to the board's discretion. I mean, he says that there's 9 spaces there, the plan showed 6. It might be restriped improperly out there, I didn't personally go out there and look at it. Someone from my office did, but he didn't give me that comment. So they might not meet the RSI's width and length for parking spaces. I don't know whether you want them striped, that's up to the board to decide. The other thing in my letter is your ordinance does have requirements for lighting in parking lots. So if this is, it's not like, these are apartments. So you do wanna have safe parking lots. I don't know if there's lights in the back there, I mean, I meant to go back there, and I didn't. Do you have lights in the back parking lot?
Yeah, I have lights, but, no, like, always parking lot, I have, solar lights, many of them around the parking lot.
On the building?
Yeah, on the side of the building, the driveway, and in the back of the parking lot, I got some solar lights, so if you are, walk through the home, the lights is gonna be on. So, for security, everything, there is somebody living there in the second floor, so they need to see, where I'm working. So I don't think that's a problem. If you ask me for, I can put more lights. I don't think the number of the parking spaces is a problem. The, New Jersey regulation is say 1.5. If they say R6, I'm okay with that. I don't have to prove R9, So now, an average family have 2 or 3 cars. So if every family have 3, so it's enough for them. So I don't think it's gonna be a problem.
You have plenty of space for, I mean, if you have 6 spaces, that's enough. I mean, the fact that you're telling me you have 9, that's a little bit concerning, because I'm not sure how wide these spaces are that are actually out there. So, again, I'll leave that up to the board to decide how they wanna handle that, and how they wanna handle the lighting. I mean, variance or, design waiver for lighting, not knowing the number. And
Not knowing the number.
might be the foot candles.
Oh,
The foot candles, so we could just say it's, it doesn't meet the 1 foot candle. But do you want some kind of a lighting study done after the fact? Want somebody to go out there with a light meter, make sure that it meets the 1 foot candle, or it just seems like it's enough?
Or work with somebody.
Or work with somebody, yeah.
Well, I will say that the entire backyard is the parking lot. You're familiar with it, you're behind the engineering company. So it's one, large parking lot. There's literally no interior, no dirt. It's all concrete, it's all blacktop, right? All of it. Yes? Is your entire parking lot, it's all paved, the entire rear is paved, no garden area, no nothing, right? So, and this property, as you know, butts up against another parking lot. So it's parking lot to parking lot, and then to the other side, that is a residence, I'm not sure what they have behind that. But, because of the size of it, your call on the lighting towards the rear may be a good call. Because I'm familiar, you do have perimeter building lighting, but to my knowledge, you don't have anything to the rear of that.
No, there is a wood.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be the only thing.
But
that
if
you
there
would-
is residential use on the side of it, then you could, impose lights on, the people that dream in the backyard.
yeah, exactly, that's what I was thinking. The house on the right's residential, and this one will be residential as well.
They will,
Yeah, well, they, as you say, the next home of a parking lot, the same as mine. But they are not, the lights are the gentlemen are describing right now. So if you are going to ask me for that, you have to do it the same to everyone, because that people don't have that light, It's, even the back, to the right in the back, there is a big parking lot, is owned for a company, I don't know what company it is, but they don't have that light even. So it's even a bigger parking lot, two or three times my parking lot, so they don't have that light. So.
Any other questions, comments from the board, thoughts before we?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, you have a discussion of the parking space, it'd be nice to have a little green space back there. I was wondering if you could eliminate maybe a parking stall or something, just to have a little outdoor area.
Just to have some grass to go.
Yeah.
I actually was gonna go there too, it's all blacktop, but, I think that's that's good.
I mean, it was just a, suggestion for your residents.
Anything else we'd like to address before addressing? Yes. At this point, we will open the floor to public comment. Is there any member of the public who would like to offer testimony, who would like to, not offer testimony, to offer comment on the application before us? When you get to the microphone, please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. David Villalba, 166 on Concord Road.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Villalba, yes, I do.
And the whole truth before the board?
Yeah. I'm looking at the Google map, and I see that they have the asphalt, as you mentioned, Richard. So that's pretty good, so they do that parking, and I do agree with the lights. My question is, would it be owner occupant? And how active would they be on taking care of the property and making sure that it meets other standards on the blocks, as far as that's concerned? Looking, there's a couple of businesses on the side, lawyers' offices, but I can see that may work for them. Again, main concern is it owner occupant, and are they gonna be taking care of it? And those are good questions as far as the, parking spots and the lights, because then they can park in the back and not occupy the front, where we have Burlington County, which uses the area a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. We can answer that. I don't, it's not gonna be occupied by you or Alexander, is that correct? It's gonna be rented.
Yeah, and, answering the concern, we have been taking care of the property since 2022. Everything is in good standing, taxes, bills, and everything. We don't have any issue with anything. The property is a brand new property. If you take the time to see the pic in the Google Maps, you're gonna see a very ugly property. We changed the face, the property, we changed the face of the whole neighbor, because, to be honest with, you and every person who, walk to the, it's the jail, but it's, the, let's say, government office, government building, and everything around that building had to be in good standing. But that was a very ugly property, very, very ugly. When we moved there, the attorney side to the home, he was very happy, because he said, we have been waiting like 5 years to someone to take care about the property. We are happy because you are here to fix it and, put everything on, the good way. So, I don't think it's not something to be worried, because we have been taking care of the property. We put a lot of money there to have a very nice property, because we like it, as we live there, so.
Mr. Bruno, I have a question. So, right now, are you the one who is, whenever there is, when the current tenant has a question, when there's a leak, whatever, that needs to be addressed or taken a look at, do you come down from where you live, or is there somebody locally?
Yeah, every time. I live actually in Elizabeth, so every time they need something, I just drive. I say, yeah. I'm even, I have cameras also, something, any situation with the tenant, but with somebody, somebody else, I have cameras and everything, so, yeah, I'm right, I need it.
Who's responsible for upkeep of the yard?
For the what?
The yard, the bushes, the front door looks like it's overrun with vines, on the picture I'm looking at.
Wait, you
Who
mean?
mows your lawn? Who trims your hedges?
Oh, I sent someone to, take care of, the lawn, the grass, that's what we're talking about?
That's right, yes.
Yes, I sent someone. If not, I'm drive and do it.
That picture came off of an old site.
Okay.
I don't think-
No, it doesn't look like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have an update. Just to make sure I understand, this is Mr. Morales, correct?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he's the property manager, he's the person who personally manages the site, takes care of compliance, maintenance. You may not do it yourself, but you hire the folks who do that, correct?
Yeah, right, exactly.
I just wanna make sure the board was clear.
I appreciate that. That's exactly what I was asking. Thank you.
So, and while we're on the subject, as I understand it, this is proposed to be a new residential unit. It's not going to be an affordable, deed restricted affordable unit, correct?
That's correct.
So it will be market rate, it's an additional unit, so it will be subject, the first floor will be subject to a, equalized, it would be subject to an affordable housing contribution, because it's in excess of the number of units permitted. It would be subject to 6%, not 1.5% of the equalized assessed value of the additional unit. But the second floor is already laid out. You don't have to do any changes to the second floor apartment, right?
Right.
Okay, it's just this first floor, you're gonna do something to add the kitchen and maybe do some other touches. Okay, but there's gonna be an affordable housing contribution based on the additional unit, to the extent, if the board deems it appropriate to grant the request.
Thank you for that. So are there any other comments, questions, clarifications from the board before we summarize the conditions of the application and move to a motion? Seeing nothing, move to table. Oh, do I need to, can I let them sit down now? Or should? It's okay, never mind.
Okay.
I regret saying it.
So this is the application for use variance relief to permit a duplex where a duplex is not permitted in the zone. So you have to find that the positives substantially outweigh the negatives, that the property is particularly suited for the use, and also as indicated in Mr. Calidio Kalani's letter, whether whether it fits within the zone plan, consistent with the goals of the master plan, but also consideration of current use patterns and so forth. They've addressed the parking issue, and the question is whether you want to impose conditions in terms of ensuring that the striping reflects what's available at the site, and whether the lighting in the parking lot is adequate, whether you want to have them comply or work with the board's planner or engineer on that. This would be subject to, if approved, it would be subject to the affordable housing contribution, and this is an enhanced number here. They've addressed the utilities, that they're separate units, so they don't have to change that. They've provided existing utility services present on site. They've addressed, traffic, noise, those types of issues, and the impact from the residential use as opposed to the commercial use. So you'd have to find that the positives substantially outweigh the negatives. It's a property is uniquely suited. They've described the area and the prior uses and their attempts to utilize and sell the property. So any changes would have to be made, would be subject to code. You'd have to obtain all required permits, get construction code official approval from anything, pay your taxes, pay the professional fees for escrows, and comply with all other requirements of township code.
We're also asking for a site plan waiver.
Right, and you supported the site plan, right? Because there's no, because they provided the floor plan, there's no exterior, very limited exterior changes proposed, so that's, thank you for that, Mr. Nugent. So in addition to the use variance relief sought, in the conditions as stated, they do ask for a waiver of site plan. So the board's wishes on that, is there a motion? What conditions do you want?
I make a motion to approve as explained.
Okay, are you gonna have the, work with the board on the lighting, or are you satisfied?
Of course, I haven't seen it, I'm guessing that it's, I would think any additional lighting would impede, because I have it in my neighborhood, impede other neighbors, which is a residential house, so I would say.
No? Okay.
You did say you had lighting in the back, it's just that it's not been measured or.
You said it was on motion detectors too, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, so to the extent that a design waiver is necessitated in that it doesn't meet 1.0 foot candles, they provided testimony as to how that can be met and waived because it minimizes the impact. And you don't want to do anything with the striping of the parking lot?
Residential.
No, residential. Okay.
We have a motion.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy.
Second.
Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Dow?
Yes.
Chairman Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Vice Chair Salcier?
Yes.
Mr. Safford?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Anyone who is here to provide testimony on that application, we have included that, and you are free to leave. At this point, the only item left on the agenda is public comment. So we will now open the floor to public comment. We'll go row by row, first row. And when you get to the microphone, please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Louis Lopez, 9811th Drive. What's the future plan for 36 minus 35 High Street, the second floor. What's the future for that floor?
The address?
The Revolution, 25.16, 35, 33, 35, 7.
It's for park.
It was for adding apartments on the second floor.
Oh, and an apartment? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. I don't see anyone on the second or third floor. Anyone else who would like to offer public comment at this time?
David Villalba, 166 on Concourse Road. I have to say this was a good meeting. Church was a good decision. I was looking at some of their, where they were gonna place it. Looks like it's in front of the church. Doesn't look like it interferes. The solicitor presented a good question, if the town can use it for, emergency uses or advertising. I think that was a great idea. I think you can measure the ambiance or the lux, they call it, with a lux meter. So, like, from time to time, depending on the units, I'm familiar with them, you can lower the level, on them. If it's an app, you can probably, call them and if it's too bright and have them lower the level. But it was a great meeting, did really well. I thank you for that. Oh, and I hope that we can go forward in other good plans, considering the master plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to offer public comment before we close the floor? Seeing no one, the floor is now closed to public comment. Any questions or comments from the board at this time? Board professionals? Seeing nothing, is there a motion to adjourn? Are there any objections to adjourning the meeting? All in